Welcome to the Electric Theatre.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey man, how are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. A little bit cold here in Toronto at the moment, but other than that, pretty good.
Is that where you're at, is in Toronto?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto, born and raised in Canada here.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. I love Canada. You know, there's always those sort of crazy things that go on with rock and roll. Just getting in, getting out, but I've always respected it and always, there's been times that it's taken a long time to get in. I don't know what that interference is, but we'll roll with it. It happens to me all the time. But
no worries.
Anyway, long story short, I love coming up there, and I love the fan base. Very much like Europe, very appreciative, meaning the love for music and the need for music, and when they know they have the ability to receive it, they jump on it. Whereas, I say often in America, I feel like we can be a little bit lazy behind it and then maybe complain about it a little bit, and that doesn't work really together, So anyway, love it up there, so I can imagine it's a lot cold. It's kind of cold where I'm at. I'm in the Midwest, so it was 1 degree yesterday. That's pretty cold, 1 degree for us.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. So.
Oh, that is extremely cold. That's colder than here. Wow.
Well, that's what my wife told me. I was supposed to do some stuff outdoors, and then she told me it was that, and that may have been with the windshield, or maybe we were off and I didn't hear it right. But it was very, very, very cold, and I didn't want the dogs to be outside too much and that kind of stuff. But so thanks a lot for being on the show. Appreciate you taking your time today to speak.
Thanks for having me.
Like I tell most people, I try not to dig in. I try to let all things find me. It's more interesting. But I always do get a little bit of information from the people closest to me that will, just kind of send me down maybe the direction they know I would go in, which is any direction really. But I really wanted to dig in on something that I thought maybe we had a little bit in common, but more I wanted to hear it from you. Just hear your story, but knowing what little I know, but what I could comprehend very quickly is that you fell in love with this art form at a really young age, and I wanted to begin by asking you 2 questions. One. With the art, and I'll let you explain it, and you can tell everybody, but with the art that you fell in love with, was it more the graphicness of it, the gore, or the sexuality of it? Because I don't know a lot about a lot of it. I am not an expert. I know that what I'm attracted to has a high sexuality end of it. And then, was there someone in your life, was there a moment, did someone give you a reward, an uncle reading something and then gave you the reward by actually explaining it and giving you some insight to take it forward? Or did you just kind of look at this and decide and start?
Okay. I assume you're referring to sort of the Japanese manga side, or are you referring to music, heavy music in general?
Well, I'm talking about the art, the Japanese art first.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure.
Just because it seems like, what little I've read, the art is being talked about as much as the music, and I love that,
Yeah.
and it's because there's such a heavy vision. It's not like, in the last 12 months you develop something you want to talk about, it's real profound, and you're trying to make everybody be convinced that you made some heavy art. This is something that began, before you're 10 years of age, apparently, and you're heavily already aware of it. So I'm wondering what drew you to it. Was it the extremeness of it on any side, and did someone hand it over to you?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, this was heavily influenced by my uncle, Michael, and he exposed me to things, different animes, even old school ones like Astro Boy, which are a little more lighthearted in that sense. And I just absolutely fell in love with anime in general and manga and Japanese culture in general. And quickly it turned into me jumping on the internet and trying to find something that was, higher octane, I guess. And I think that touches on what you mentioned with the graphic and gore content. To be honest, that's what I was searching for at first as a young teen, looking for something a little more graphic and bloody. And I came across the manga, which we base a lot of our art form upon, which is called Berserk. And the reason why I think that I fell in love with it was because it wasn't just about the gore and the bloodshed and the testosterone-filled scenes that you would encounter. There was such a deep character development, and it was something to me that I realized that I was searching for gore, but at the same time I was searching for people I could connect with a story that made sense to me and resonated with me in a way that was a little more foreign than we're used to with North American media. So I remember I just fell in love with it. I just binged the whole series and I watched it over multiple times. But the true love and the beginning of it came from being a young kid, having my uncle who used to babysit me growing up, showing me anime, and it's just can't thank him enough because it's become a massive part of my life.
When you say that you were searching for something that more spoke to you, you said it was more of a demandness. It made it very apparent, like you were looking directly for this more aggressive sort of conceptual aspects, let's say, than the North American stuff, which would be Popeye or who knows. I'm trying to figure out your age. You're like, I was told you're like 8 when you got into this, and you're like on the internet. I'm like, huh? I'm like, I am old. So, like, I'm really old. If you were 8 on the internet, so but I mean, so you knew already at a young age that you, how do I say it? And I started this whole thing by saying that I thought there were similarities between us because I could feel that I needed something more aggressive in my life at a super young age, and there was many ways I was acting out leading to that, and it all led to music and art. So you knew that you needed a more aggressive outlet. Is that okay to say it that way?
Oh, that's totally accurate. And I came from a very traditional Christian household, so there was certain things that I maybe didn't have access to growing up in the same way, and I just sort of wanted to seek more, see what was out there, and I just had this passion for just extreme anime and art forms in general, like Quentin Tarantino movies and things like that, but also in the side of metal music as well. So it's sort of, to me, I think they actually go pretty hand in hand, heavy music and anime, which is sort of how the whole thing that I'm a part of now came together, which is crazy to think about.
Well, I've always wondered that growing up, from watching underground skateboarding videos to club videos to bootlegs of bigger bands and small clubs to older Japanese cartoon stuff. And you always wonder, there's a supervisor of some sort. Somebody's taken over the music aspect and chosen to select some sort of music to go along with what we're seeing. And I agree with you that there's a lot of things I've always felt like this just is not what I would think the music is, and I agree with you that anime, where it goes and what little I know about it, I'd be too embarrassed to try and tell you everything I've seen and everything I know because I just can't pronounce most of it, and I don't want to make a
it's
fool.
Okay, it's difficult.
I don't want to make a fool of myself. I will very quickly. But I agree with you. It does go hand in hand. There's so much passion in this art. It's so time-consuming. And like the depth, the layers that you're talking behind the story, and then the character creation. Lots of these things, they'll do a lot of foreshadowing. They'll even go back. You'll get to see the story. So I agree with you that it kind of does. It goes really, really well with this style of art, so that, And then you said you fell in love with the Japanese culture. Have you been to Japan in any area at all in Japan?
I have. The first time that I actually was able to go to Japan was back in 2018. An older band of mine had the opportunity to play a couple of shows there. We played in Tokyo, and we also played in Osaka. And I think those, to this day, are two of the best shows I've ever played overall. And I was just absolutely floored by that whole experience. And I'm hoping things can go back to normal in a reasonable amount of time so I can make my way back there.
Well, you must have had your mind blown. I mean, growing up, loving that art form, and then educating yourself, and then getting the chance to go to Tokyo. We joke all the time because I'm convinced, I'm super in love with the Japanese culture, and I have so many friends, and they always tell me that I'm Japanese, and that so I know what you mean, but I'm always convinced that we're taken to another planet, and we fall asleep on the plane, and then all of a sudden we land on some moon called Japan, and it's just the most amazing place. And everything is just overdone, but correct, and just perfect and polite. But it doesn't make you. For me, it makes me lose my ego. It makes me lose what I feel like I gain in other places that I don't need to carry. Things I don't need to carry as a human. I
Sure.
go there, and I feel like I can shed off so much because of the culture and the beauty. I've always said that I felt like everybody in the world should go to Japan at least once.
That totally makes sense. I felt a level of, I think I want to use the word respect from the people that I encountered there that is maybe a little bit different when you're in the United States or Canada. And you're right. It does remove the ego in a sense, and it sort of humbles you as a person. Just to feel that respect and gratitude, and people are very thankful for everything, and it's just I don't know. It is mesmerizing. It is like visiting another planet in a sense. I'm glad it exists.
So you have plans. I mean, things can't in the universe. Things can't stay the same forever. I mean, that, in our lifetime, sure, something could stay the same for 100 years, but that's just a glimpse of time in the whole grand scheme of time. But things are going to return. We're good at figuring things out. We just know we need to communicate and listen. They go hand in hand. But when they do, when things do return to some sort of normality, you have plans on. I realize you guys dropping the new album, dropping the whole thing, and getting busy to get out there, and then this all kind of happens. So you're getting ready for everything to get back, so you can just take this whole message out and get this whole thing started.
That's right. I think this is not something that anybody expected, and we're just trying, like everybody else, to make the best of what's going on with the pandemic. And I think right now, as far as music goes, I think people are ready to ingest it. So I feel like in a way it's a nice thing to be able to put it out at this time, but in other ways it's not the best because we can't jump on the road, which is, I think what most musicians adore doing. So I'm hoping, like you said, to get back to some normality soon, but it doesn't seem like it's too clear at the moment. But just going to have to keep doing things online and seeing how they go, and keep the content coming for the people that really care about it.
I agree with all that. I completely agree with all that. And I have learned one thing in my lifetime. I've been real used to taking time off in between like tours. For example, like Corey, he'll go out and do his other bands, Stone Sour or some other things that he'll do, as will other gentlemen in the band, myself, other people, whoever. We all like to do other things. I think we'd all like to stay on tour every day of the year, every year, but we know that that's not practical because touring's hard.
Right.
And it's good to take time off. We're just always looking for the best schedule. I think we've always said, like, 6 on, 6 off, 6 on, 6 off, 6 on until we're dead. And it's hard to do that when the rest of the world has kind of set it up for you. And they're like, no, we're just not open during this time, so there goes your schedule. Yeah. But what I'm finding, I'm having a real, transcendence from being 51 years of age, dealing with the music and the way music is given to me. If I wanted to go out to a vinyl store right now, it'd be difficult. It's around. It's somewhere. But it'd be difficult. And so would a CD shop, and so would a cassette tape shop, and a music store in general would be difficult. Difficult because there's rules. Obviously, we've seen some people, it's always a debate of what rules or rights and these things or whatever. But what I'm saying is
right.
because that I'm not leaving a lot, and I'm finding music, I'm letting music find me, and I'm finding music that I haven't had time to listen to in a long time. And then I'm realizing, I spent most of my life loving music in the car to all the greats that I fell in love with. I never got to see any of them on tour. I never got to see Zeppelin, things like that. Fortunate that I could see Pink Floyd and the Rolling Stones, but never got to see the Beatles, things like this. So most of my life has been, just really indulging in imagination in a car and disappearing into the words and the art and, the saturation of what's happening, what I'm listening to. And I'm feeling like I'm getting a lot of that back. I feel like I've been talking to a lot of my friends, and things feel, I'm not saying things are going back to, lesser technologies or stuff. If anything, we're going way too fast, too quick, further. But I feel like it may slow things down enough that, like you said, people, maybe everyone's just going to start appreciating it now. Maybe this is a good chance to, like, you know, this is just a good chance for the busing companies to clean the buses. It's a good chance for the airlines to figure out what needs to be done to keep people happy if we want to fly socially. I'm just kind of throwing things out there, but you said it. We all definitely are going to want. We're going to want it. You know, I know that I'm going to want to see a live show, and believe it or not, I don't want to see a show in an arena or a club, you know, whatever. I want to go to a club. I want to be like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know, from East LA, you know, blah, blah, you know, here they are. I want to see that. Like, I want to just feel raw music, social, have a beer. You know, I want to start there. And that feels good. That feels like a good starting point before trying to figure out how to be around 22,000 people in an arena where I may possibly want to get down. But the point is, and then, you know, I want to hear what you have to say about it, but the point is with all those things that I hit on, are you feeling, besides, I do realize you guys were just getting out there and that you are, the world demands content constantly, and if you're not, they're just hard on you. And, you know, you were just beginning, but are you able to just, you know, go to band practice and just still be in love with, you know, the dream that you're moving still in? You're in it. It may be at a standstill, but are you still able to have your absolute love? You're not too disappointed right now.
I think that I'm disappointed in the sense that I can't play, but I'm not disappointed when it comes to the response from the fans and supporters, because I think in this digital age we're seeing a lot of this is sort of an upcoming thing that I've noticed, that there's reaction videos to different songs that come out, or even different types of videos or memes or whatever it might be. And for me, those have been a saving grace in a sense, because we can see the song released that we put out, and then we can watch these reaction videos and see how the music is actually affecting people firsthand, a lot and live in a sense. So it's not the same as, you know, standing on a stage and being able to, you know, touch the hands of people reaching out that care. But in a way, I think that's sort of been helping me push through. And so far, the response to the latest singles that we put out off our new record called Lifeblood it's been really positive. So that's helped me try and keep a mindset that is, you know, looking positive and looking to the future. And we might not know when things may return, but I'm still feeling good about it. And just to touch on what you said regarding the intake of music right now, I think you're totally right. In a sense, it actually is returning back to the days of when there was lesser formats and whatnot, because people are appreciating it more. I think there's so many people that I've spoken to in my life that would be happy to see a band that maybe isn't even that great in a bar and drink some PBR, and they would be over the moon feeling that way again, just in a club or even in a bar. So I think once things start to make their way towards normality, I think there's going to be a new appreciation. I think people maybe won't think about checking out a band the next time they come through, and will make sure that they're at the show that's coming up sooner at that point.
I agree. What about when you say that, you know, I know exactly these reaction videos. I won't get into it, but I'm a fan of a certain gentleman who has one, and he did a it's hard to talk about because it's so funny, but let's just put it this way. I learned so much about my own band by just watching this gentleman react to one of our videos. it was real. I mean, at one point, this guy got up and looked behind him and thought that someone was in the doorway staring at him because of the video. And he literally stopped the video and was like, all right, you guys got me so messed up. I'm thinking people are behind me, you know. So I understand that. I believe that's a wonderful, beautiful thing as well. That, you know, again, who would have known the internet could provide a positive thing? But let me ask you, and I have no angles, and I try not to bring up negativity. I just try to bring up education because we can help. And we're all on the internet, and
Sure.
We're all looking for something. But how you've got to most definitely be getting some negativity, because I don't know if you can be human and not get negativity on the internet. But if you are getting negativity, how are you handling that, man? Are you able to understand without being out on the road for 5 years, or do a bunch of interviews and give the world the whole thing face to face, and then have to roll out? And I'm not saying you do have negativity, but I just know how things roll. But if you do, how are you handling that? All right? Do you respond, or do you try to learn from it? You know, how are you dealing with that?
Oh yeah, I think there's always going to be some form of negativity with music. I think for the most part, it's pretty positive. I do look at the negative comments. You know, sometimes they might bring up a good point. There's sometimes we've seen some negative comments on our older tunes, and we made adjustments to certain things in the mix because of that. We didn't notice those little things because we're fully self-produced band, and it's just there's always things you can improve upon, and I appreciate that when people give that feedback in a sense. Sometimes you'll get like the odd people that say just things that are heinous and crass, and you got to just laugh those off, I think. Because it's not really anything that's productive or adds any positive vibe or energy to the world. So just to me, I just use that as a way to laugh it off and move on. But I think in a way, you can't really have too many good things without some bad. I think there's some sort of balance that always needs to occur in the world or in the universe, however you want to look at it. So I don't think it's the worst to see those. And I think when I was a bit younger, maybe if you put me in my shoes 10 years ago, I would have been like, I really want to reply to this guy and tell him why he's wrong about what he's saying. But at the end of the day, I just take these comments with a grain of salt, and I move on with my day. And if there's something that is constructive, then you know what, I'll make a mental note of it. So, but overall, like I said, I think it's been pretty positive, and I think the way things are going, if people choose to have a good mindset and be positive and be constructive, I think we're only going to go up from here as far as like online response goes.
Well, I think that's an excellent response, because, I mean, the response is, I basically, with the Electric Theater, I figure, you know, if it's something that I do for years and years and years, you know, I end up making my own sort of hypothesis on certain issues that I want to touch on. And you know, you can't have love without hate. You can't have, you know, someone just love your album without someone just hating your album. But then, you know, what I'm doing is I'm always just trying to hear, especially in these times, you know, how important it is to, you know, take it with a grain of salt, because, you know, we live in a very strange time, and the internet can be very destructive, and some people don't understand how to take it with a grain of salt. And I try to help out in that sense with, like, you know, I barely get on the internet because I could be like checking out some Bobby Flay, you know, like Bobby Flay, beat Bobby Flay old video, and somehow I get on an interview of me talking in, like, you know, like 2005, and I'm like, nope. I'm like, I can't I can't look at that person. I'm not going to listen to him. But then, you get sucked in, and then there's comments, and then I'm thinking, I can remember talking to my manager once about a similar situation where I'm like, wow, this guy is telling me that blah, 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 blah. I just went off, and he's like, clown, you're talking about something that happened 4 years ago. You're watching a video this guy commented 4 years ago. I'm like, what? I thought it was yesterday. So, what a wonderful way to put it, man. Laugh it off and take what you can productively from those that can help educate. Knowledge is power. But I always wonder why people could potentially want to hurt across wires where there's no real human interaction. It's just words.
Sure.
But those words can turn in to individual human actions well away from the person that started it, and things happen. So I'm always trying to decipher how we can monitor that better for ourselves, because we're all humans. I would love to help out those that felt like they needed to just say something really heinous. Is it humor? Is something going on I could help you with? I mean, there's got to be some way of monitoring, But so what are your plans today? What are you doing today?
Well, today has not been too eventful. I just finished grooming my cat right before this, and just cleaning up. But just to talk about what you just said there, I think when it comes to negative comments, I think sometimes it's difficult to decipher them because you can't really tell intent from text that you're reading on a screen. I remember I saw something super negative. It might have even been something slightly racist, but I saw this person at the time make a comment, and I looked at their Twitter profile, just quickly glancing it, and I saw a bunch of negative things, and you could clearly tell that this person was hurting. And sometimes someone is going through something, they might say something negative, and you might feel bad about what they've said, but ultimately maybe there's, like you said, there could be some way that you can help that person. If they're, I'm a huge advocate of mental health awareness myself, and I think sometimes you just got to think about the big picture when you see a negative comment, and perhaps someone's going through something when they make it. But that's just what I wanted to say about that.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's important, right? It's like I started learning it in road rage. I'm not really one of those guys that goes crazy, because I know the responsibility you have to have when you make decisions with certain people, especially where I live. If you're going to make certain decisions and have certain road rage opportunities that you're going to present to people, you got to be willing to be responsible. But the way I like to explain it is, you could be honking at someone in front of you that has no control about, the stoplight or the person in front of them or what's going on a block from here. But the point is, this person in front of us, their father or mother could be in hospice.
Yeah.
We honestly do not understand anything that's going on with any of us. And I love what you said, that someone might be acting out in this generation this way, using this technology as a voice of either hear me because I need to be heard, or hear me because I'm losing it, or hear me because I need help, or just hear me, And that was a really great way of putting it, is that you do have to end up That was great that you went to the Twitter, even if it was like, hey, I'm going to get this person, because I've been there. I've definitely been there where I'm like, I'll go show this person, but I've looked in and went, wow, hey, there's worse things going on. So I agree with you, man. It's a good thing. So, but anyway, you guys, is your whole band together in Toronto?
We actually are sort of split between the U.S. and Canada. Myself and one of my guitarists were here in Toronto, and our bassist actually just moved to Nova Scotia, and he's really loving it out there. Absolutely beautiful in Halifax. And then our other two members, our drummer is in Brooklyn, and our main guitar / writer, Leo, is in Connecticut. So we're sort of all over the place at the moment.
That makes it hard, but everybody's staying in touch with each other and making sure everything's going along, and everybody's, that's good. I mean, you guys got plans of getting together, try to practice soon, or just get together and jam, or are you guys writing, recording, sending back and forth, adding, or are you basically talking to that very early fan base that gets on very early, that's so pure, and you're dealing with them and just getting ready for when you can pull the trigger and get out there?
I think we're always trying to think about the next step, and the band sort of started off with just two guys, myself and Leo, the gentleman from Connecticut, who is sort of responsible for the instrumental and the production side of things. And we have a group chat. We keep in touch. I think we're going to try and get together and maybe do some sort of live set recordings or something of that nature. Just in the meantime, to sort of give something back to the fans that's a full set of the new music, since we can't engage in it just yet. And we're always trying to keep writing music as well. We're already looking at the positives and maybe even some of the parts that people may not have enjoyed as much, and trying to hone in on what we can do better for the next music, and then start sort of beta testing and alpha testing the new songs out, and just looking towards what we're going to do next. I think we have a pretty good idea what we want to do, and I think we're going to try some different things as far as releases go, and I think I want to focus on telling a big story, perhaps through visuals and audio as well. So we're trying to plan out the logistics of that right now, but we definitely all keep in touch, and we'll, if we have the opportunity to start working on the live set, we'll definitely be jamming again, because I'm itching to jam right now. It's been a while. So that's sort of what we have planned for the near future, and of course working and engaging with the fans and supporters on the upcoming record. We're going to do a live stream, just sort of just maybe a day beforehand, just showcasing the record and talking about how we came up with the different songs and the writing process and whatnot. So
well, that's good. Staying busy is it's important. I always try to find the direct opposite of what's frustrating me. So for example, if I'm drawing with my right hand and it's being too linear and it wants to abide by some stupid rule that was taught to me by somebody I couldn't even tell you who it was, I put the utensil in my left hand, and then it gets liquid, and then it gets like handicapped, and there it is. There's what I'm looking for. That fresh line. That look at it go. Look, that's what I was looking for. So I found a lot of that. I've been very blessed in the fact of obtaining a lot for myself during this time to where I've even had people around where the outsiders would have caught the virus, so just people had to stay away for 10 days, but people being around for 10 days makes it awesome to even, when you're told you got to do something, I mean, that's the only sacrifice. So if your band wanted to get together, as long as you were following protocol to each city, each state, the laws, whatever they are, the rules, whatever they are, can't follow them all in every city. But let's say every one of you could legally, make it to a location, and basically it was a hotel and you needed 5 rooms, and all you had to do was to jam, was stay in that room for 10 days and take a $80 test to play God music. That's part of that transcendence I was talking about. Is like I keep telling people, like, I feel like I'm trying to get signed again. I've been on the phone in the last 2 weeks. Like, I mean, people are laughing at me. I'm on the phone all the time, talking stuff, working through stuff, all good stuff, no pressure. But the phone works better than the cell phone. And it works, and I don't always want to be on FaceTime or Zoom. I don't always want to be looked at. It's just the way it is. I mean.
Sure, I agree.
I have found that this challenging time, I have had to find where others have made me make decisions that I normally wouldn't have to make, but I have to make because of how they chose the way they want to roll in the situation. And I've had to work through that. And when I was coming up, there was always that word development. You guys need to develop. More development in the music, more development in the stage presence. But, when you're young and you hear that, it's like, I want to fight. But, you get older and you understand it. But I honestly feel like I'm developing right now, and I'm not fighting it like I did, when I was getting into it, and I just didn't know if I was being lied to or, being thrown down some weird road that I had no idea. And then the ego, thinking, well, we did develop, quit telling me what to do. But honestly, it's all great feedback. That that's how we got our feedback, was from a phone, talking to a person, telling me of authority, if you want a chance, then you need to develop. And I got to go to band practice and go, hey, we got to develop this, and I feel like right now in the world I'm developing so many things. And honestly, at my age, I'm not old, but I say that because I've done a few things in rock and roll, but I feel like at my age it's keeping me younger, having to work for some of the things that were very easy for me to do not a year ago. And they're not any harder now, but it's just a little more intense. And crazy time, man. Just a crazy, especially when you just put yourself in your bubble. And it depends on what bubble you have. Where did you choose to be when it all went down? And it's like, what? Such a strange thing. So, how old are you, man? I wasn't going to ask, but I'm going to, because I'm going to figure out this fucking getting on the internet at 8 thing.
Yeah, I just turned 30 last year.
All right. So I was drinking PBR when you were getting on were born, basically. So anyway, we established that. It was just funny the way you said it. It's like, yeah, I saw it. My uncle showed it to me, got on the internet. I was like, what? Because I read from 8. Anyway, where was I going with that? Anyway, I don't know. Are you guys allowed to up there where you're at? I mean, do you work? Do you work from home? Are you working right now besides doing band stuff? just to stay busy? Participate in things, I guess, is what I mean. Hang out with friends. Are you guys allowed to? Are you shut in? What's going on up there?
Yeah. So right now there was, I think they're starting to lift it, but there was a state of emergency declared here in Ontario, Toronto, Ontario. And so we're sort of shut in. I think they're starting to slowly lift that in certain areas of the province now. Some that are a little bit further out from the main city there. So technically, right now I'm in a state of emergency, and sort of ordered to be at home with some fines that could potentially be carried out. But at the same time, you're sort of allowed to exercise and get groceries and whatnot. So it's a little bit odd in that sense. So you can go out for some things, but others you're not really allowed to. As far as work goes, I've got a clothing company that I've started with my guitarist that focuses on tie-dye apparel, and it's all custom made stuff. It's called Shibori Threads, and that's been my primary focus outside of the band. And we've been doing sort of limited drops of very limited quantities from some of our favorite bands in the metal scene that are our friends, and it's been pretty successful to start off. We're a very new company, but that's been sort of the focus lately. And of course the band takes up a lot of time since we're fully self managed at the moment. So that's been taking up my time. So I've been working from home primarily and trying to follow the laws of the land and just trying to remain busy and focused if I can, and trying to keep busy. So.
Yeah, that's good that you have something creative to put your hands on in order to get the day go by. And it's awesome that you could open something up that could, not only keep you busy, but also help pay the bills and just be fun and offer something new to the world. That's a lot what I've been doing. I've been working on a script for a real long time, and finally got the final draft, and haven't really read
That's
it
awesome.
because it's got the right time. But I've been working on it for so long that it's almost like some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't care. I've seen the movie and it's not even been out. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm trying to stay busy that way too. But honestly, I enjoy looking out the window. I don't enjoy snow too much, and cold. I don't enjoy cold at all at my age. My wife and I much rather, if allowed, take a walk alongside the water somewhere warm if we could, but we still have children where
Sure.
we're at. And but I just enjoy, I guess my wife and I are very creative, so we have little things that we do all day that keep us busy, and then we have our formula of what time dinner is and these sorts of things. So I think most people I've talked to that, all of us that are peers, we all have similar ways of getting through the day, but everybody's circumstances is a little bit different. A lot of people I deal with obviously live in LA, and it changes there weekly, it seems like. Fines, like you were talking about.
Right.
I'm basically in Des Moines, Iowa, and I haven't. Have I been out? Yes, I've been out. You got to go out. You got to do certain things.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one incident. I haven't seen anybody drug out of a store or somebody flipping out because of anything. But, I haven't been out a lot, and it's been pretty easy for me to just get around, maintain business, make sure we have what we need, and get done what needs to get done, like a car if it needs a tune-up or something. But I've been very blessed in that sense. So I've taken the opportunity of using the tranquility to create. Just create, and do as much as I can during this time so when it ends, I can unravel all of it, for the end of time. So sounds like you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, been trying my best. That's awesome. I think you touched on this a lot throughout the talk here, and I think it's just a great time now that things have sort of slowed down to reflect and work on ways to improve and maybe get into some hobbies you might not have had a chance to, and things like that, whether it's painting or craft or things like that. And I've dabbled a little bit with some painting. I'm not great, but I'm trying to, be a little more creative in more ways than just music too. Have you dabbled in anything like as far as traditional arts or any hobbies that you've gotten into during this downtime? Or?
Oh man, I mean, I laugh only because those around me are laughing right now if they heard what you asked, because for some reason, what happened to me was that when this started, I was like, oh, so we have to cancel this tour, this tour, this tour. And when I heard about it, I just sort of predicted that it was going to be minimally a year, because it just seems so, the way they were explaining it in the beginning, I'm like, they're not going to know anything about this for a year. They're going to need a year to study it, to even understand if it comes back, whatever. So, but the people around me, if I'm off a Slipknot tour for 2 years because somebody else is doing another band, the people that work with me may work with those other people, so they're still working. Or that, you know what I'm saying? So the world goes around, but now all of us are home. So I'm like, wow, I kind of got me excited. Like, everybody else was a little frustrated, like, what the hell do I do? I'm like, I'm going to grow a garden. I'm going to learn how to make alcohol. I'm going to learn how to make barbecue sauce. I'm going to learn how to make vinegar. I'm going to make kombucha. I'm going to, so I went nuts on the food thing, because I've seen so many episodes of anything from Iron Chef to Beat Bobby Flay to Chop to Chris Santos was one of my guests, and I love that stuff, and I've learned so much. I thought, well, why watch it anymore? Like, let me put the shit that I know these people have all said the same thing over the years. So I tried to pick up a few new things that I could benefit. So when this does end, I don't need to prove to anyone. I'm better in different senses. But one thing I'm proud of is I stayed in shape. I made sure that I didn't, for what we do, man, we go on tour, you got to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you'll instantly be passed out and done. You won't be able to do 3 months. So I think that's the biggest thing I did, was just really hone in on knowing that I have to maintain a certain optimistic way of taking care of myself, so when this does end, I'm not in a world of pain and in a place I don't want to be. So I've been fortunate to get a few things, and everyone I know seems to have done the same thing, from hanging out with their kids, obviously reading books, obviously hanging that picture, cleaning the garage. But then there's a lot of things you would never think of, volunteering, donating. There's all kinds of other obscure things that go on with this. So I do use it as a little bit of a theme, because everybody has a different way of saying it, and I always believe that someone might not hear what I need to say in a positive way, but they might hear it from you. So that's why I do that, I guess.
That makes sense. That's totally awesome, especially the self-improvement part when it comes to staying in shape and whatnot. And I think that your family will also like the food side of things in the long run too. So it's an added benefit for yourself as well as your family. So I could see that being a huge positive. I think for myself, as far as food goes, I want to dabble in some more baking. For some reason, I have more of an interest in baking rather than cooking. I don't know why, but that's just been my thing. So I want to maybe try making some cinnamon rolls and some cakes and things like that, and give them out to the family when I'm able to see them. I have some family that's just down the street, so it's I can beta test some recipes and whatnot that way. So I think it's awesome.
You sound like, honestly, I think baking, just from our little bit of a conversation, the art that you like, it's interesting how you said it. I mean, cooking and baking are very different. So the other percussionist in Slipknot, he, at the beginning of the pandemic, started making bread. And he would come over and we were making music. And I'm like, where's my bread, man? I'm like, God damn it. Every day you're talking about this bread. And I'm like, where the hell is this bread? So basically, he was basically breaking it down that bread's hard to make. I mean, there's no joke. So basically what I'm saying is for Christmas or my birthday, my wife bought me a bread maker, and I got the manual, and I started learning how to make hot sauce. So I'm more of a cooker, because baking, whether it be a cinnamon roll or bread, sounds super, super intimidating. And when he was telling me the stories, I'm like, where's my bread? He's like, well, I made such an excellent batch. I ate the whole thing. I'm like, man. So I told him, I'm like, you need to take butter and put it on the outside, on the top, and give it that brown. I can't tell you when you do that or how you do it or how much or what kind of butter, but I know I used to watch my grandma do that. And he's like, yeah, I read something about that. And then the next day he comes over, he's like, I tried that butter thing. It was awesome. I'm like, where's my bread? No bread. So you should do it, man. Make some cinnamon rolls for sure. And it's like the painting you said. You said you tried painting, or you are painting, and then immediately you followed up with, oh, I'm not that good. But guess what? If I taught you a year from now and you're still painting, you're going to be like, I'm a lot better. And that's really another thing that goes on during this pandemic, is that every day is another 24 hours to get more depressed or more optimized, Mm-hmm. My dog is literally dreaming. My dog is on the floor dreaming. I don't know who he's barking at. I'm going to wake him up here. Hey, wake up. I'm doing a podcast, buddy. So start baking immediately, because, Test Kitchen right down the street, whether it's your mom or your sister, or whoever it is, they'll tell you right away, won't they? They'll go, oh, it's a bit salty. You'll go home.
Oh, yeah.
You'll think about it. Maybe you'll go, screw you, I like salt. Or maybe you'll go, hey, I tried one with a little Lee sauce. That's what I'm doing with the barbecue sauce, the hot sauce. I did it 60 different ways and made people try it 60 different ways, like McDonald's. Like McDonald's could hire me to hone you in on a sauce. But so that's cool that you want to bake, man. You should start doing that right away. Tell me, before we end this, again, I appreciate being on the show. I know I go a lot of different places and talk a lot and try to get what I can. And I'll be interested to talk to you again when this all ends and you get out on the road. And you get out there and you meet those people that you've been watching reaction videos for, just the new friends. I always love those fans who discover you from the beginning. So you have a very unique time right now, whereas I think that maybe if I were just out on my first album and I was told to stop, I would be doing what you're doing, and I would be introducing myself to everyone. So when I'm there, I could come true by introducing myself. So you're in a very interesting time to collaborate with something that will start over. They just got to figure it out, and they will. It takes time. Everyone needs to be safe. No, the way we talk about it is, I don't want to be in a band that's responsible for getting a bunch of people sick. Do I want to play? Oh, man, I want to play bad because I love getting my pain out with someone who needs to get their pain out. But while we're doing it, neither one of us want to get each other sick where we could possibly get someone else sick who can't stay healthy. So anyway, you have a very interesting time to broaden the spectrum of what your rock and roll dream is. So I'm really interested in talking to you once this lifts, you go out, you actually come home and you're exhausted, and someone's like, make me some cinnamon rolls, and you're like, I'm too tired because I've been on the road. We will talk again then, and we will remind ourselves of this time where we sat idle and the things we did and the things we did not and the things that we missed and the things we missed not as we're allowed to go back out. Honestly, brother, I don't know if I could ever fly again right now. I'm telling you, I've seen enough videos where I'm like, please don't show me another video of anybody, because there's a good chance you will not get me on an airplane, because I don't know if I might have a panic attack, because some people just can't handle some things, and those things can spin other people out, so we got a lot of work to do, right?
Sure.
Well,
definitely.
All right, man. Tell us, so I went to your website real quick. I want to tell everybody, I thought that was a very, very cool website.
Thank you.
I thought that was very, I can't recall. I know the technology. I'll let people discover for themselves, obviously. I know the technology, of course. I never saw it put sort of in that way. So it was really interesting to me, and I thought it was very cool and very, very honest approach of getting into learning about you. So tell everybody real quick right now how to get to your website.
Yeah, so you could visit our website, brandofsacrifice.com, and we have sort of a AR or VR 360 experience where you can sort of discover parts of our album art and then have access to the singles we've put out, as well as our various stores and whatnot. And another cool thing that we're trying to do to give back is we're actually doing a giveaway for a PlayStation 5 that has our album art design on it as well. And if you pre-order the record, you're entered automatically, but you can also just post on socials. There's free ways to enter too. brandofsacrifice.com, and I invite you to discover our new record, Lifeblood.
Awesome, man. And I checked out the video, and I think everybody should go check it out. It's real good, and
Thank you.
I'm liking it. And I'm going to dive more into it. I love it when things find me, and they usually find me a lot more these days through the Electric Theater, which I've been thankful for, because sometimes I talk to people. I never think that I'm not going to be able to talk to someone. I just wonder, are we going to be able to talk? And and I find that I learn something from everybody where I've gone out and explored it after our conversation, and that's been wonderful that the Electric Theater has been able to give me an opportunity to learn myself. Just this morning, I was going through your website, just moving it and watching it, and I was more interested on when the repeats were there repeats, where the lines were, like the design. Like, I like it all, man, I like studying it. It's and I was having a real good time with it. So thanks for that. I suggest everybody go check that out because it's awesome. And this will lift. Stay positive. I expect when we talk again that you're going to be an expert cinnamon roll maker, because I'm not lying. One of my really good friends just this morning, before about 10 o'clock, texted me and said, if I wanted to send you cinnamon rolls, what's the address? Because I have a new house. His wife makes the best cinnamon rolls, and she texted me this morning. Awesome. And you're like, cinnamon rolls or something. So anyway, we'll be on tour. We'll meet. I'll want cinnamon rolls. We'll go from there. Have a great day, man. Good luck with your band. And I look forward to diving more into it. I think it's very precise. I think kids today are really going to appreciate it. So everybody get in there, and if you need anything from the clowner, let me know, and we'll talk soon. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Really look up to you, and I'm really, really happy I could be a part of this. And I hope we can, like you said, chat when this is all over once again.
We will definitely chat again. The Electric Theater is going to be more of a mobile thing. Obviously, when I'm out on the road, one thing I hate more than anything is that I noticed very early on in my career that some of the people that I felt that I was like-minded with, I usually only spent time with them during catering, because we all kept similar schedules according to when we play on stage. There's a right time to eat, right time to nap, a right time to talk to the family, a right time to go check out that other band, a right time to get an hour to yourself. And I learned that they're the same things. How's the family? Good. How are you? Good. What you been doing? That we don't get anywhere else, because there's no time, because once the food's eaten,
right,
then there's an agenda. So a lot behind my show is like, I want to break that. I have so many friends out there that I call friends, and we really don't make time, and it's not our fault, I don't believe. We just, or maybe they do and I just don't. Maybe it's just me, being an only child. But it's something I'm working on, where I want to make sure I take more time and make the Electric Theater mobile and go on someone's bus and be able to, watch a football game, or, literally go fishing at a lake that's a half a mile from the venue, catch a largemouth bass and talk about it, or, things like this. So
yeah.
We will talk again. We will see each other on the road. And if we talk once, it means we talk forever. So I just appreciate you taking your time, and thanks for your kind words. And, man, keep your head up, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, too.